found out about my daughter that she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, I looked up. I went on the internet. You know, I did all my research, and that was probably the worst thing I could have did, because you hear about like, and then you look up images and you see like,
horrible things.
And that probably sunk me real quick. There's a possibility that once you read that, there's a possibility that you're going to bury your own child, and it's just like that's when I was just like, all right, like whoa, like you know, I got to take every day as a blessing, and here I am sitting 11 years later, and it's like, what am I doing? Like if I want to fucking do this, I got to do it, you know, because before I know it, 38 turns into 48, 48 turns into 58, and it's like,
well,
now my daughter's 30.
You're throwing yourself in the fire now.
Right.
Putting it out there, right? So you're putting it out there to the universe, which is scary to do.
Right, 100%. Right. I mean, it's not easy to talk about. I'll tell you that.
Dude, we all have the best time ever to start a small business.
If I'm not going to be 100% in, I'm not going to do it.
Come on, man, just be yourself.
Yeah,
and just show up as yourself.
If you don't realize what I'm really about, I'm about freedom, family, and my country.
All right, Mr. Boyd.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Appreciate you.
You reached out on Facebook. You're like, Ryan, I see what you're doing. I have my daughter, Amaya. She has cerebral palsy. Could you share this, thing? We're trying to win this running bike, the Josie bike.
What we did was we entered a contest, and I guess they had specifics that you could do your daughter or son to pick for. I think there was like 5 or 6 bikes to pick from. We decided to do the Josie bike. Josie bike is just another way for my daughter to get out there, not just sit in her, she doesn't have a wheelchair, she has a kid cart. So it was just to get out there, different, you can bring it to the beach. You can push her while running and stuff like that, just to get her to enjoy that, because she can't walk, enjoy nature as best as she can. So we entered her in a contest, started a couple weeks ago. There was multiple ways to win. You can donate, which was not the purpose of this at all. We just wanted to vote. We started out, I think, way back. We moved up to 10th, we moved up to 5th, we moved up to 4th, and God willing enough, we actually ended up winning the Josie bike through donation. We had a few people that made some rather generous donations that, I gotta be honest, I don't even think I know I asked her name's Trish, I asked her who Mike Sweeney was, and she doesn't even know who he is. So by the grace of God, he helped us get pushed over the edge along with others.
Maybe someone saw it, someone's posted, shared it.
I made it. I mean, I was going morning, day, and night. I would wake up and literally, and it took a couple hours at a time. I would wake up in the morning and literally just hop on social media, Instagram, Facebook.
It's, so for the viewers that are going to watch this that are your friends or your family or, others who are supporting your daughter, this show really started about turning around and helping the next guy or girl in line. And it was really based around business ownership. And I said this year in December, I said, we're erasing all that. We're going to talk to a lot of business owners, because young entrepreneurs out there trying to do something, or just even a guy trying to climb the ladder in corporate sales, whatever it may be, they may hear Chris Boyd's story or Ryan Robbins' story or somebody else's story and say, I understand what that person went through.
Right.
I walked a parallel life, right? And with your situation, when you reached out, I could tell that you're a dad trying to fight for your kid to give her a better life.
Yeah.
But after even talking to you more tonight prior to hopping on here, you're realizing you want growth for yourself to be able to provide your daughter and your other kids with a life that, everybody dreams of, right?
100%.
The American dream.
100%.
And your story today, hopefully you come back a year from now and you're in a way different position, whether it be in your career or your situation in general has improved according to you and this different life you want to pursue. But I wanted to also get out the story of your daughter, right? And what that life is about as a parent.
Right.
And how much the toll it takes on you.
Right. So I think even I have looked up a lot of your previous videos, and I remember saying to myself before reaching out to you, that was one of the things that I was hesitant to reach out to you, because I had looked at it and I said, well, a lot of this stuff is business. A lot of this stuff is business owners in the area. I think my thing about when I finally reached out to you was like, I want to change the narrative. Now, I had not known that you had said in December, like, hey, listen, we're going to make this about whatever the case may be. Not just helping the next guy, but like just getting things out there. Like you said, whether it be this A or B or C, whatever the category was, I kind of wanted to try and change that narrative and be like, hey, listen, like, not what about me, what about my story, what about my daughter, but what about the other people that go through the same thing that I do. My purpose on here is not to just be for me and my family and my daughter, but it's I know what it's like. I've been dealing with it for 11 years now. It is, everything is advertised. The struggle's real. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not for the faint. It's not for the weak. And I feel like that's made me a stronger person in the end, but not to where I want to be. And I think that's where I decided, like, hey, listen, I'm going to reach out to him right now and hopefully not change my life, because this is not about me, but not change just my daughter's life, but hopefully change, like you said when you first started, the next guy up.
Yep.
So hopefully someone else can come on here, their daughter or son has autism, or, you know, the next person comes up and their daughter or son has another genetic thing like that. And I want them to feel comfortable enough to reach out. Like this man is not just about business, but he's about helping. Like we had talked about before, I've known you for 25 years now, and to see where you have come, it's being a brick kid growing up in brick. It's like you live the lifestyle that, like you said, the American that people want. And I want to be able to get out there and, again, not necessarily help me. You know, and I reinstate it again, it's not just about me. It's about helping whoever I can through this.
Yeah, and you never who you're going to connect with.
No.
Someone may reach out to you when we release this next week and say, Chris, I just had a baby. We found out that, you know, he has cerebral palsy. I'm in a bad spot. Right? And you have the ability to, being who you are, turn around and help the next guy. And I wanted to touch on, like, you know, why am I having you on? Dude, it's easy to get sucked up into the influencer world. I hate being called an influencer, but at the end of the day, that is what it is. It is what it is. That is what I am. That's not who I am as a person. I'm a lot deeper than that. I care a lot more. And when I started the podcast, it really was all about heart, and it was about, you know, turning around and helping the next person in line. And it's easy to get caught up in chasing the big names that are on social media 100%. And getting them on my podcast, or the biggest business owners, or the wealthiest people in the area. And thankfully, I've had a lot of those people, and they have helped my career. But other ones, I've been like, I wouldn't fucking give that person a shirt off my back now, because they're that much of a bad human.
Right. Like you talked about before, takers.
Takers, dude. Takers really, really bother me. But these are the people that are supposed to be rich, right? Some influencer that is supposed to be rich, and he's supposed to have his whole life together. And meanwhile, they're out there with this, you know, malicious agenda. But where I find the most joy is when I do something like this that's not automatically advantageous to my pocket, right? I'm not having on a business owner that, you know, is doing $5 million of revs, and I'm promoting this person's business, and now him and I have a relationship, and maybe that turns into or materializes to business for me, right? Because it's easy to get into a mode of thinking that way.
100%.
I want the show to be about helping people.
Right.
And you're giving me the opportunity to say, like, hey, I can have on people who support Children's Specialized Hospital. I can have people on that support these kids' cancers. I can have people on that support the vets. That's awesome, and that's great. I do all of those things. But the individuals need the most help, not the fucking big hospital.
Right.
The individuals need the help. And I want to give you a platform. Hey, Chris Boyd is open to maybe pursuing a new career, right? You're
100%.
open to growth. You're open to meeting and talking to other parents who have gone through similar things that you're going through. So
my biggest thing was, and I've always wanted to do it, ever since I found out my daughter was diagnosed. My daughter was diagnosed at 11 months old, back in 2013. So like my biggest thing was I always wanted to start a foundation. I felt like, you know, and then life got in the way. You know, and
hustling to get it done,
right,
and
like
day in and day out.
Right, and it's a lot. And I even just, so let me go back a little bit. So March is Cerebral Palsy month, and I think that's why I wanted to come on here when I did. You had reached out to me, or your assistant had reached out to me and said you can't. You were busy. Listen, I completely get it.
We're actually booked till May.
I think you had said that. I think you
Owner was supposed to be away today.
Okay, yeah. So I think you or your wife or you or your assistant had said May or June, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, okay, I'm cool with that. You know, as long as I get my goal accomplished. My goal was to get on here and get myself, get my daughter, get people out there knowing that you're not alone in a fight like this. And then your assistant had, God, by the grace of God, reached out to me and said in a short notice that we can get you in by today. And I said, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
you know, I had my kids. Like, to be honest with you, I had my kids today, and my she was nice enough to let me drop them off a little bit on the earlier side, just so I can do something like this. And I think, so long story short, I've always wanted to start a foundation. I've tried and I failed. And I think I got to the point where, like, I gave up, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it next year, you know, because every March happens once a year. You know, I'll do it next year. And then 2 years go by.
It's hard.
And I'll do it next year, 3 years go by. And here I am sitting 11 years later, and it's like, what am I doing? Like, if I want to fucking do this, I got to do it. You know, because before I know it, 38 turns into 48. 48 turns into 58. And it's like,
Well, I'll
now
tell
my
you,
daughter's 30.
You're throwing yourself in the fire now.
Right.
Putting it out there, right? So you're putting it out there to the universe, which
Right.
is scary to do.
Right, 100%.
Right.
I mean, it's not easy to talk about. I'll tell you that.
It's not easy to talk
You know?
about. And you're also sitting there saying, hey, who does foundations? Who builds charities? Like, reach out to me if you see this podcast. Connect to me. I want to work with you and your
Right.
team.
I know I did a little bit of my research on my own, and obviously that's what you have to do in order to be successful. You have to do stuff on your own. Stuff's just not given to you. I know the 501(c)(3). I know that's a big one. And again, and when I had originally reached out to you, I said, Ryan, like, if I recall, like, word for word, I said, can you please use your platform to help me achieve what I want to achieve? And my ultimate goal is, of course, my daughter is number one on my list, but also to let people know that you're not alone. To let people know that if I can start a foundation, I want to help not just that per A, B, and C. I want to help that person. I want to help that person. I want to help that person, and hopefully even my kids. You know, I have one older son, one younger son, and even my older boy, just to be like, hey, listen, like, why not? Maybe I want to get involved in something like that. Maybe I want to help someone like that, you know, and hopefully somebody sees this and says, like, fuck it, dude, like, I'm going to reach out to that guy and maybe we can work together. It's, you know, it's.
You're turning your pain into purpose now
Right.
at
It's
this
about
point of 39 years
for
old.
11 years, it was a lot of pain, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bullshit, man. You know, it's
Yeah,
not.
oh, listen, I told you about Woody, Sam Graziano, and
Yeah.
the conversations him and I've had over the last few years. And
Yep.
some of my good friends that work within the firm have, you know, autistic children,
Right.
and, you know, some other people I know are, you know, have dealing with kids with kids cancer, which is, you know, it's
Yep.
tragic what the government
Tragic, man.
only gives
Tragic.
to kids with cancer.
It's crazy because people that need it have to jump through hula hoops. That's what I've learned in the past 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, through either the government or the state or whatever. If I wanted to buy a pound of Coke, I can go probably 2 miles up the street and get it for $150, 200, maybe, you know, maybe $1,000. But if I want something like this for my daughter, it's $7,000-8,000.
Yeah.
Make that make sense.
Yeah.
You know what
can't.
I'm saying? Like, the people that need the help don't get the help, but the shit that we don't need, we can get with a snap of our fingers. It's
Yeah.
right at our fingertips, you know? So
It's like, why is it so hard? Why
Right.
does it have to be hard?
Right. You know, like my daughter can't walk. She can't talk, you know? Why does she have to struggle, go through her everyday life when some guy somewhere wants to end his life or something like that, and he's able to do it by getting Coke like
Or
that?
we're giving migrants billions of dollars to stay
Right.
in luxury hotels.
Right.
But we can't help an American family that's
Right. 100%.
trying to figure it out with, you know, a
That's
daughter
it.
has
Trying to
severe
do it.
handicap.
Just trying to do what everybody else is trying to do. Not necessarily live the American dream, but just live.
Yeah.
You know, just live. Just
Get
be
by.
able to, yeah, just get by. Because that's what I'm, you know. And going back to my daughter, like, it's. I use the word nightmare a lot, you know, because in the beginning years, that's kind of like what it was. I would be at work, and a lot of people would say, like, oh, that's like you're home away from home type, whatever, this and that. And when they go home, like, that's their safe haven. There have been times where I would be at work and that would be my safe haven.
Yeah.
Because I know when I do go home,
It's turmoil.
right, I know what I'm stepping into, you know, and I've spent many nights, not just me, my family, you know, her mom, you know, like there was a lot of nights where it was just like, why? But I never actually said officially that, like, oh God, why me? Why this happened to me? It was more of, and like I had told you before, I've been asked a few times, like, oh, how do you do it? Well, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean how you do it? You know, like, this is my daughter, and the answer is whatever it takes. You know, have I been the best father along the way? Maybe not, you know, but I feel like...
You're ready to be it now.
Right. And I feel like now it's like that cliche of...
We all make mistakes.
It's never too late.
Right, you were talking, you know, telling my friends that, you know, met me over the last 5-6 years, like Ryan was reckless and Ryan was a wise ass and this and that, right? I made mistakes along the way. If I continued to just be that guy forever, I would never be the guy I am today.
Hell no.
So everybody makes mistakes, and it's owning it. It's owning it on a, you know, you're owning it on a public platform, which is really, again, putting good juju into the universe. It's stepping out there and saying, I'm willing to walk through the exercise, and I want to get to this person to be the best dad, to be a business owner, or whatever.
Well, like you said too,
it's
that uncomfortability. It's being uncomfortable. You know, along the way of 11 years, it has taught me it's okay not to be okay. You know, to just keep on keeping on. And I know these are cliche, like they sound weird, but sometimes I never bought into them. You know, I never bought into them. Like, oh, keep on keeping on. What the fuck does that mean? You know, or it is what it is, or like shit like that. Like,
were you very negative at times?
I think I got into a dark place. Definitely been in a dark place, like to the point where I was. Oh yeah. There was a few times that I questioned
wanting to be around. Or?
Right. Like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing? She has, my daughter has a great support system, whether it be my family or Trish's family, great support system. So if I go, what she set up, she has Trish, you know, she has her grandparents, or, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, am I really going to be, you know, am I going to be missed? But like, she set up. It's not like I'm the only caretaker. Like, if I go and there is no caretaker, like, okay, my daughter's fucked. You know, there have been plenty of times where I talked myself. I can't say I ever actually did anything, but there have been plenty of times I talked out of it, and I'd go to bed crying. Yeah. You know, and again, never asked why though. You know, like, why me? And they always say, like, you know, God never gives you more than you can't handle. And then I actually ran into a really good friend of mine at work, Lori. She's a bartender there, and she had said to me, Chris, like, just recently, maybe like, not even a couple months ago, when I felt like a lot has come down on me, like my mom got sick, and then dealing with my daughter on the daily, you know, relationship bullshit. And she said to me, like, if you throw all your problems on a table, everybody throw all their problems on a table, you pick your fucking problems right back up.
Real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Life happens for you, not to you.
Right.
And it's, what am I going to go do with these difficulties that were thrown at me? What did I become more strong in? What hurdles did I have to jump over? Right. What hoops did I have to jump through?
Yeah, I always
run with that.
Right,
you use it.
Right, I always looked at it as like, this happened to me. Who's going to help me?
Yeah, that's a.
You know,
I understand it, and I'm empathetic, you know, but I don't have that situation.
Right.
So I can't sit here and try to give any type of judgment or thought on it. But I think that in any situation, not just someone with a handicapped child, is it's a bad mentality.
100%.
It doesn't win. And actually, when you have that type of attitude, it pushes people away from wanting to actually help.
100%. And like, that was my mentality for a while. You know, it was like, oh, this is going to happen to me. Who's going to help me?
Well, you're trying to survive too, you know, which I get.
Keep my head above water, make it to work. You know, there have been times where I would call out of work on purpose. Sorry, I'm admitting to this right now, but I would call out of work on purpose just because, like, I don't want to deal with this. Yeah. You know, I don't want to deal with this when really, like, my work was my safe haven, where my home life was like fucked. Yeah. You know, and that was it's just negativity. You know, in the past probably couple years, I've gotten back on the positive side, the positive track of, like, this has happened to me. me and only me are going to be able to figure this out. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, no one's gonna do it for you.
No one's going to help you.
And no one cares. I mean, it's the saying,
No,
no
you're
one's
right.
coming to save you.
100%.
No one's coming to save you.
No.
No one. The government, the
Nope.
state.
You either
know.
save yourself or you drown.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the truth. Sink or swim. I want to talk a little bit about your daughter and, what actually happened, right? So for even myself, cerebral palsy, I don't even know what that meant
Right.
more than, obviously this person's handicapped and they had something happen in their brain.
Right.
But, walk us through kind of the situation of how she ended up having this happen and then, what some of her handicaps are.
Okay. So I have an older son named Brody. He's 15. So I already had a child. This was Trisha's first child. And we would have to, any parent out there knows, like when you have a child, it's like, your sleep is fucked.
Yeah.
Like
For
it's
like 7 years.
Yeah, you're not exactly. You're
still not sleeping.
Right, you're not sleeping for the next 5 to 7 years easily.
Easy.
But when we brought my daughter home, within the first 11 days, it was like she was sleeping. And I would turn to Trish and I'd be like, this is not normal. I remember I would say a couple times, like, this is not normal. I've done this before. I'm not a master, but I'm already a father. I know that
this is weird. Why is she not waking up?
Why isn't she not waking up? I mean, for everything under the sun, whether the babies wake up because the light's too bright or not, dimmed or pissed, shit,
whatever.
Feeding, everything under the sun, they'd be your alarm clock for every 3 hours. And we weren't getting that. And the doctor would tell us to wake her up. So in my eyes, that was like kind of red flag number one. That should never be, especially at 11 days old. Maybe 3-4 years down, but 11 days old, that baby should be eaten regularly, 3.5, 4 hours. So that wasn't the case. So we would have to wake her up. We fed her. There was one night, it was actually, I think the 11th or 12th day, don't quote me, but I believe it was one of those 2 days, where I was feeding her and she started doing like a little rhythmic motion in her hand. And I was exhausted at the time. And I remember seeing it, and I remember being naive about it, or remember saying, like, there's no way. I had a feeling what it was.
Yeah, you had that quick anxiety or that instinct in your gut, but
Hit me, and I was just like, nah.
I'm tired.
I'm exhausted. I'm seeing shit. But I mean, I don't even know where I was at the time.
Dude, and that's a real thing. And I'm getting smoked with this smoke again. Plus, your story is touching, but this smoke is crushing me. Like, that's a real thing as a
100%.
parent. Like, you're not literally sleeping, especially those first like 2 months. Like you hallucinate. Like
Absolutely.
you
I mean,
forget shit.
There are times where I think I thought I was walking into the kitchen, but I was in the bathroom.
Yeah.
She'd say, "Go get the," and I would.
And you're like, why am I in here?
Yeah, I'd be like, "Wait, what the fuck did you even tell me to do?" At 4 o'clock in the morning, type shit. So long story short, she fed her in the morning. She saw that same rhythmic motion. She videotaped it. We sent it to our pediatrician. Pediatrician said, "You need to go to the hospital immediately." She was having a seizure. She was having some type of seizure. Mm-hmm. Brought her to the hospital that day, and she had multiple seizures and multiple strokes throughout the day. At 11 days old. And that day, so you got to figure she was born, I don't know, that 11th day I was probably the worst day of my life. Worst day of my life, and I said, she's going to die. She's going to die. Like, you watch movies. Yeah. You watch movies, you read books.
When you're human, your head goes to the worst case scenario.
Right, and I'm like, she's not going to make it through this day. There's no way. So Trish is a physical therapist, and she had said to me, it's not looking good, and we went to the doctor and we said, "Doc, like, listen, don't bullshit us, don't sugarcoat us. When there's nothing else you can literally do for her, just tell us, because we can get out of here and maybe go somewhere else, or maybe maybe it's it. Maybe it's our time to say goodbye." So miraculously, somehow, grace of God, she ended up making it. But what ended up happening in the meantime was she ended up getting bleeding in the brain, which is encephalitis. So she had encephalitis. So all her lobes closed, and just like a dam, think about it. A dam blocks it. As soon as all the lobes reopened, it all rushed. So which caused bleeding in her brain. She actually ended up having viral meningitis. And that caused, that was the trigger of everything. and she was left with, so they call it, in the kids, to make things light of things, they call it ART. So if you were to look at her MRI, she has ART, which is brain damage, fancier name for brain damage. And it affected multiple layers of the brain. So it affected her speech. It affected her being able to walk. So she can't walk, she can't talk. She's predominantly left-handed. So her right side, not that her right side is not mobile, but it's a lot less significant. You know, think about it. When you someone has a stroke at 67 years old, they're a vegetable.
Yeah.
A lot of the times,
Or
a lot of
one
the
half of
times,
their body doesn't work.
right? Or a lot of the times they get the slur on the face and whatnot. So I think because where it affected in the portions and lobes in her brain, it affected in certain areas. So right now she's nonverbal. She can't.
Do they think there's a possibility?
I never really, I never really actually talked about it because, to be honest with you, I accepted it. Mm-hmm. I accepted it.
It's the radical acceptance.
Yeah, I think in the beginning that was one of the things that I had always held on to. Hearing her talk for the first time, I've held on to. There have been many times where I was even 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like you said, delusional and tired, and I would think that I hear her voice. Even sometimes now there's days, like sometime, recently, because my grandma had passed. My grandma was my best friend. I lived with my grandma. That was my mom's mom. She was everything for me. And so I actually named my daughter. My daughter's name is Amaya, Francesca. So she's, that's named after her. And so I feel that sometimes when I lay Amaya down and she's looking around at night, I feel like my grandma's talking to her, like she's looking.
She very well may be.
Yeah,
I believe
in that stuff.
Yeah,
I
totally
1000% believe in that stuff.
I get chills when you say it. Like,
there are times where I lay her down and she's just staring, but she's not staring at me, and I'm just like.
There was a Joe Rogan episode the other day,
right,
where this specialist came on and she said people who are nonverbal, whether it be autistic,
have better communications with the outside world.
Yeah, dude, like severe communications with animals.
Yep, I 1000% agree with that.
They can essentially see the future,
Yep.
and
I 1000% agree with that. Like I said, there'll be times where I lay her down and she can see, and she'll look around and I'm just like, I'll move my head because she's fixated.
Yeah.
You can tell, if someone walks through this backyard right
something.
now, I'm staring at it, who the fuck is that? She's staring at something. She's just not off in the, on the clouds. She's looking at something. And I always say to myself, that's grandma. And sometimes before she goes to bed, I'll always give her a kiss and I'll always say, just talk to her when you can.
Yeah.
And I really feel that presence sometimes.
Listen, that's a great feeling, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because how can this nonverbal be able to actually, she's communicating.
There's a bigger power than us.
Yeah,
There's
dude.
a lot we don't know.
It's wild.
This guy said something the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before. He's like, people think they're gods. And he was talking to me and Trevor, and he's like, people forget, we all put on our pants the same way. There is literally a higher power than us. The universe, Muhammad, which is owner's God, or Jesus, which is my God, or Buddhist, whatever you believe in. There is a higher power out there, much
100%.
greater than us as humans. And I believe in that stuff, and you should keep believing it. Don't ever.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I had a buddy of mine. You tell me all the time, Superman, but Superman puts his pants on one leg at a time.
Yep.
Left foot, right foot, or right foot, left foot. It's still, he puts his pants on the same way everybody else does.
Now you were sharing something inside, and this is to kind of, give someone who's watching this, an understanding of what you're going through.
Right.
And again, I'm sure Trish, goes through similar things.
Absolutely.
I'm just speaking from what you have told me. Yeah. Where I said, does she know who you are?
So it's actually quite it's cool because what the doctors have told us is she sees silhouette. She sees a silhouette, and I think now that I've been around her for X amount of years now, 11 years as her father, she sees this silhouette, and when I wear a hat, the first thing, and I'll lean over, the first thing she'll always do is she'll reach up immediately, and I'm talking about within the first 15 seconds. She's automatic. It's
wants
automatic,
that hat off.
right? Because she doesn't recognize. She looks at me and she says, "I know that guy, but what is it? Something's off. What is he fucking wearing?" She takes the hat off and then she's chill, And she goes, like, she just almost like she looks at me and she says, "Oh, that's my dad." You know, it's the wildest thing ever, because anybody else, because like I said, and she recognizes a lot of people. Like, I'm sure she has silhouettes of my mom and my dad and Trish and her and Clay, who's my son, and Brody.
I can only imagine if I had a child and I didn't think that they recognized that I was their dad, right? Because I walk through my doors, and I'm just, you know, putting myself in your shoes for a minute. It's hard. I walk through my doors, and my little redheaded savage daughter's like, "Daddy, I love you." She's telling me like an hour later that I don't like you. I like mommy. You know, but you know, my son, Daddy. You know, like, you know, that's so much joy. So you do get that. It's 100%. In your special way with Amaya.
100%. There are times where she'll be like at school. She'll do a play. She goes to Ladison, and they're great there. They put on plays. And
Ladison's right in Lakewood, New Jersey.
Right? Yeah, Ladison's right in Lakewood. Good school. You know, my daughter's been going there for a while, and they put on what's that stuff? Trunk or treat. They do trunk or treats. They do Christmas shows. They do all that stuff. And
shout out, to cut you off real quick. Shout out to the people who work with handicapped children.
Oh my God!
Like,
I have been
angels.
They're angels. They're heaven sent. They're angels. I have been asked, because I work at 3Bs in Lakehurst. I'm a manager there or whatever. I have been asked. We've held events in our banquet room for healthcare workers and kids, people that deal with special needs. I've been asked numerous times. "Oh, well, you have the experience, blah blah blah." And I said, no disrespect, I do it because I have to.
Yeah. I
don't have a choice. The fact that you do it because you don't have to, I tip my hat to you all day.
I don't think I could. I mean,
No.
it takes a special human being. So I wanted to give a shout out real quick. Sorry, cut you off.
I'm backing that 1,000%, because like I said, I don't know if I'd be able to do it, and I'm a special needs father.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone approached me tomorrow and said, "Hey, listen, we got this job opportunity to take care of so and so." I might say I respectfully decline, but because I do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get me wrong, I love kids and I want to help kids. Inspiring to be a teacher one day.
You coach as well, right?
Yeah, I coach. I used to coach my older son in multiple sports. I coach my younger son in multiple sports. And that's the beauty of it, to watch those kids grow up. And it's also, and I never really said this to anybody, it's the first time I'm actually saying it to anybody, is when you grow up, because my kids were so close in age, you know, one was born in March, one was born in October of 2013, one was born in March of 2015. So it's 15, 16 month span. When you grow up playing basketball, soccer, flag football, you have co-ed. So some of the hardest things for me when I coached my younger son, Clay, was shit, like Amaya should be on this team. Because you get to a certain point where it's boy, girl, you know, it's boys playing with girls, girls playing with boys. And then you get to that cutoff. I think it's around like third grade where girls go off and play softball, boys go off and play baseball. They go play basketball, their own basketball, you know, their own leagues.
They go on their own.
They go in their own direction. But for those 3 years, I thought to myself, like, I don't think I've actually even said it to Clay, was, you know, your sister's supposed to be on this team, right? You know, and she probably wouldn't have been a badass little bitch, dude. She would have been, you know, but
she's
that's
tough, obviously. Like, she's still fighting.
Yeah. I mean, she fought that day, dude. There's no way. And there's no way, man.
Yeah.
You know?
The other piece, and it's just because you brought it up,
right?
You know, think about what your other kids do go through, right? You know, your one son doesn't live with you, from another relationship.
Yep.
And Clay is there with his sister, Amaya. But, you know, that's hard, right? Because a lot of life is based around this
100%
situation that is not easy, but you know, there's no choice, right? Let's just say one of the siblings is being a whiny baby, and you're like, no, you're not ruining it for everybody else. You're coming along. We're making sure that we go take care of Colton, which is my son for the day. It's his birthday, right?
Right.
In your situation, you know, if your daughter's uncomfortable or your daughter's having, you know, some type of, you know, situation, you gotta go.
Gotta go.
Right, and that's probably really tough for you as a father, and I'm sure for, you know, Trish as a mother. Right.
And I think it honestly affects sometimes my older son too, because Clay's in the war. You know, Clay's in the war day in and day out. He sees what I go through. He sees what Trish goes through. He sees what whoever watches Amaya goes through, where Brody doesn't really get to see that much.
Maybe he doesn't understand yet. He
Right.
will.
Even at 15, I mean, he's 15, you know, and I don't think he truly understands.
What did you understand at 15?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I knew everything. You know, I mean, you know us, when we grow up, and we know everything, even kids, you know, like it's, you try to tell somebody, kid, something, and they tell you now, especially now these days with technology and, oh, I know that, I looked that up.
Yeah.
I looked at it. And
Watch a YouTube video on
yeah,
it.
100%. Like my younger son said something to me the other day, and he said, oh, I know that, Dad. And I said, where'd you get that? YouTube. And I said, dude, first thing I said was, don't believe everything you hear, everything you read, everything you see. You know, because that was the one thing that I had when this
Take
guy...
pieces from all of it.
100%,
right?
you know, and make your own judgment.
Yeah.
You know, necessarily, it might not be true, but why don't you...
And it might not be for you.
Right. You know, turn the blind eye if you think it's fake or you think it's whatever, you know. Johnny told you this, and, you know, if you want to look it up and see, like, oh, wait, that's not true. It doesn't mean you go back and tell Johnny it's not true. You just be like, it's really not that true. You know, and so that was one of the things when the diagnosis first came out, and when I first found out about my daughter that she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, I looked up. I went on the internet. You know, I did all my research, and that was probably the worst thing I could have did, because you hear about, like, and then you look up images and you see, like,
horrible things.
Yeah, and that probably sunk me real quick, and it's almost like, because you know, like, there's a possibility that once you read that, there's a possibility that you're going to bury your own child, and it's just like, that's when I was just like, all right, like, whoa, like, you know, I got to take every day as a blessing.
You ever have, like, you know, like a shoulder pain, like, you can go on like WebMD and hit like shoulder pain and like brain tumor, and you're like, what the fuck?
Right.
How the fuck do I got a brain tumor?
Because my shoulder hurts.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
and again, like, maybe that is a possibility, but like, yeah, the internet is definitely
the devil, man.
Yeah,
it's the
bad
devil,
place.
You know, and especially with like WebMD and stuff like that, where you can go in and write your own shit. And
internet is a very, very, very complex world. It could do amazing things for you,
100%,
or it could really, you know, hinder you. Right? Social media has been a great blessing to me and my friends and my family and my partners at my firm. But it also has brought a lot of additional drama to my life that I didn't really need, right? And you get better at managing the stress, and you get better at, you know, sifting through what matters and what doesn't matter. Right. You know, you're in a bad situation and you get this diagnosis, and you that is definitely a place I won't be.
They call it I found out from Clay, you call it that keyboard warrior. Once you become a keyboard warrior and you start looking up, then everything, it's almost like the world's going to end.
Yep.
Like, you don't even want to go outside because, you know what I mean? Your daughter's going to die tomorrow.
You got to remember to live.
Yeah, it's crazy. But going back to what we said, like, I think my older son, I think he'll come around. He's not in the daily war, you know? And I gotta be honest, I'm not even in the daily war because, you know, my daughter is with her mom a majority of the time.
Does that kill you at all?
And
you don't have to get too personal.
No. Listen, I'm open to anything. Of course it does. It does kill me. You know, it does kill me. I don't know if I'd be strong enough. I give 1,000% credit to her.
Isn't it crazy the strength moms have for their kids?
Insane. Moms, they know it all. Moms are backbones. Moms are
organized.
I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Yeah,
you know?
I do believe like the male is there to be the protector and the provider, and
100%.
And you're like there to be like, you know, to give them kids. It kind of sounds weird, but it's like that's what it is. I mean, my daughter, you know, Wesley, she had RSV.
Okay.
Young. I think she was. Kelly's probably gonna yell at me, but I think she was either 2 months or 6 months old or something. Very young baby, and she was on all like life support. Yeah. And I couldn't go to that hospital.
No, I get it.
I couldn't go because number one, I couldn't control myself if I felt she was uncomfortable or a nurse or a doctor grabbed her the wrong way. I don't know if I would have been able to control myself. Right. And my wife was so tough to. And again, I had another kid at home, but
it's like they're immune to it.
Yeah,
you know, it's like they literally have. Shout out to every mom out there. They literally have special powers.
Yeah,
you know,
they're built different.
Oh, absolutely.
Even the kids like no mom, I want a candy. Like my brain after a while can't take the input. It's like I gotta go out to the garage. She just, doesn't give
Melancholy,
into
dude.
it.
It's like smooth, like right across the board, like nothing, nothing's even happening.
Doesn't phase her.
No, and that was so not growing up, but those 11 years, that was my biggest thing. So I actually I do have PTSD from it. So like there have been times where we would put Amaya to bed, and I'm talking about every 15, 20 minutes would cry because she's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But at the time, in the beginning, we knew, because again, Trish was a physical therapist. She knew the severity. She knew that our daughter wasn't going to be, and I hate using this term, wasn't going to be normal. A lot of the mistake that people make now these days, and that gets me aggravated, but they don't know, is, oh, your daughter's sick. My daughter's not sick. My daughter has a lot of issues, but she's not sick. Like there's nothing currently
wrong with her.
Right. She has a lot of issues and deficiencies and whatnot. Like right now, I would say she's probably got the level of maybe, I don't know, she's 11 now, maybe of like a 1.5-year-old. And
that's crazy as you see,
Yeah, maybe a 2-year-old. Maybe. I'm gonna say like a 1.5-year-old. She has the mental capacity of. She watches shows.
She like music or anything?
Yeah,
like
she
that?
loves music. Music.
Like, will she dance? Like,
so she gets excited, and when she gets excited, she gets that's. So this is the spasticity part of it. So my daughter was diagnosed with quadric spastic cerebral palsy. Quadric meaning all 4 limbs are affected. Spasticity is her tone, so she gets real tight, and I'm talking about like
tight, yeah,
tight. And I remember and I'll never forget it.
Does she ever grab you and you're like,
oh my goodness, there'll be times, and she'll rip your arm off.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know she's doing it.
Yeah.
A majority of her movements are involuntary. It takes her a little bit, like I said, with the hat. But with the hat, it's immediate. She'll go like this. She'll feel it out, and then she'll go. It's never like boom, boom, boom. It takes a while to get from process and whatnot. So yeah, she does a lot of involuntary movement. So she gets excited and her spasticity kicks in and she gets real stiff. And I remember the doctor told me, she's like, don't be afraid. You're not going to ever break her. Like you're not going to break her. So there's certain ways you bend the wrist, it opens up the hand.
Get her to chill out.
Right. Where there were times where I'd be like, oh, Clay, like, can you go? And he'd be like, I can't. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't? You're a 10-year-old boy. She's an 11-year-old girl.
She's strong.
Oh my God. Strong as an ox, strong as an ox and no pain, which is good, but it's bad.
They don't feel pain?
They don't. She does. I don't know if they don't, but she does not. Her pain tolerance is.
Is it because the brain's not registering it?
I don't think so I got to be honest. I can't even pretend to lie about that. I would know that, but her pain tolerance is through the fucking roof. And I'm talking about she has fallen off beds. There was once or twice where I would have her on the bed. She'd be watching Mickey Mouse, which is one of her favorites, and she would go, her legs, her arm.
That could be problematic because say she fell off the bed and broke an arm and doesn't know.
But I would never know.
Yeah.
I would see. That's what I'm talking. Like that's the downside of it. The downside of it is, yeah, she can fall, she can crack her head open, she could be bleeding profusely,
and
here she's still laughing.
Yeah.
So that was.
Does she laugh?
Oh my God, yeah. So like if I
what
do.
What does she laugh
at? So she watches Sophia. Sophia the First is one of her big ones. Mickey Mouse is her big one. The Trolls movie is a big one. And she'll let the songs. So I feel like her way, in my opinion, her way of singing along is her laughing. Like that's how I know she gets it. They start singing. I can make the screen blank. All I can do is play music, and she's there. She'll start laughing. She'll start kicking.
A buddy of mine, his daughter went to NYU and got a master's in music therapy. Okay. Which is used for across the board.
100%.
A bunch of different things. So that's something that obviously speaks to her.
Yeah. Oh man, she's like I said, those feet go, those arms go. I took numerous amount of videos. I used to sing the word. There was a couple songs on Sophia that I learned. I mean, I watch it 3,000 times in a row.
Yeah, you know the words. Trust me.
Yeah. I mean, Trolls movie. I could probably recite that movie.
Moana.
Yep. Moana.
Polar Express.
Trolls. Inside Out is another one. That she likes. I don't know. My mom got her on this, and I can't think of the fucking name. Lord of the Dance. You ever hear Lord of the Dance? So Lord of the Dance, I think it was like a Broadway play, but they made it into like some type of movie, and there's a lot of tap dancing and stuff like that. I don't know one kid, and if you know anybody, one kid across America that watches this fucking movie, but she loves it. Calms her. She can be crying her eyes out.
It's crazy.
I put that on, silence.
Yeah,
It's almost something outer body, whatever it is, just comes over her and she's completely chill.
So I want to move into the next piece of the podcast and saying, what are you looking for in a sense of the foundation, right? What type of help, if someone's watched us on the other end and they've had experience in starting up foundations or they have a foundation.
Yeah. So ultimately, obviously what I'm looking to do is I have the name picked out or everything. It's going to be Amaya Smiles for Miles, because in my opinion, she laughs probably more than most children do, or as much as that. To me makes it regulated. Mm-hmm. She laughs. If she wasn't laughing, I think I would be like, all right, well, that sucks, but she laughs. It's awesome. So that would be my name. I think my goal and my importance is to reach out to people and get them the help that I was able to get. For example, I was able to and blessed enough to win this Josie bike that was donated by surrounding people that some I know, some were family members, some I have no idea who they even are. Mm-hmm. To do events, to raise money for families that can't afford. These things are expensive. Mm-hmm. I think in general, the Josie bike I think is like $7,000-8,000 alone, and that's just one bike, and that's just that's not counting.
What middle class family could take and incur a cost of $7-8 grand for a running bike?
That's what I mean. And it's tough. And mostly reaching out to like single parents as well. I think that would be where I would start, to say, hey, listen, like let me try and help you. I was helped. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed enough for the last 11 years to be helped.
Again, it's about turning around and helping the next guy.
100%, because I know a lot of the times being in two different households, and rightfully so, there's no argument by me on my behalf at all. The state does provide some stuff for the primary householder. Mm-hmm. But what about that guy, male or female, whoever it may be, what about them? Mm-hmm. They have to pay out of pocket. I don't know about you, but I don't have $8,000 just laying around where I could be like, all right, well, she needs this.
Yeah.
So I think
versus a traditional carriage or something is
right.
$500.
Something so easy, something that we do on a daily basis.
That's the one thing I don't understand. And we talked about it. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but so I know you're doing this in mass production, right? So a carriage, and I don't know, any carriage lines. Sorry, I just don't.
No, yeah.
Let's say a traditional carriage that's a double seater is $500.
Right.
That's $500. But this family who needs a special bike to take her on the beach or take her for runs or take her for walks is $8,000. How can a country as wealthy as we are, and I'm not talking about the government, they're obviously in debt right now. Hopefully Elon and Trump can get us out of that.
Right.
But we have so much wealth in this world.
Right.
How somebody in the medical field can't step up and go, because I see it with Children's Specialized Hospital. I've seen it with a ton of other organizations. We were talking about Woody, Sam Graziano earlier. Like, these people struggle to get these special wheelchairs and these vehicles and all these different things. Like, why can't it be
why can't it be easier?
Why can't it be easier? So I see why someone like you would have it deep rooted in you to be like, okay, I'm not set by any means, but turn around helping people. And what I will say to you, the more I've turned around and helped, the more money I've made, the more things that I wanted to obtain. And I don't mean just things like a material like a house or a car. Right. It's things that are important to me. Money to have vacations with my family and memories.
100%. Everyone has their importance level, 100%.
Yeah, and it's
So going back to your question, I think the main thing is try to help out single moms or dads. That has nothing to do with, that do struggle to where if something arises, because listen, the kid starts out like this and eventually they get bigger and they grow out of shit, and that shit that they grow out of is expensive. Now you can go to Walmart and get a decent car seat for what, $300-400? A handicap car seat is $2,600. Like you said, going back to touch it really quick, is like, why can't that same car seat that person needs, what's different? Like, my daughter needs a car seat to get from point A to point B. Your son and daughter needs a car seat to get from point A to point B.
I think
so
it's-
why is your car seat $400 and why is mine $26?
I think it goes to profitability, right? Because there's not as many children,
Right.
that are struggling with that type of handicap. So for the company to be profitable and to operate, they need to have it be at a certain level, right? And
Right.
that's just capitalism
No,
and
I get
business.
it. I get it.
But
I
it
get
is very hard to swallow as somebody going through it, which again is why you want to turn around and
Why
help
I'm
the
here.
next guy and grow in line.
That's why I'm here. So that like I said, hopefully one day someone can see this.
I could point you in the direction of people that could help you set up a foundation and a
Yeah,
charity.
that would be because again that's my main purpose. My main purpose is not just hey, listen, I'm gonna get my daughter out there. It's been long enough. She deserves it. My family deserves it.
There's something in you that feels like you've maybe not did it to the ability that you think you
I've
can.
tried and I failed. I've tried and I failed and I'd run. That was my process for the past 11 years. Try, fail, run. Turn a blind eye. Try, fail, run. Now I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm going to try and then I'm going to try and then I'm going to try
stop.
and I'm not going to fucking stop until I am successful. So
You're an athlete. You're competitive,
yeah,
right?
yes, yeah. So,
So, like,
I
flip
played, I
that-
played sports and stuff like that. So I want to again start something. I want to get to the point where I can do a yearly golf outing and support children with cerebral palsy. Now I focus on cerebral palsy because that's what my daughter has. But if I am successful enough, I don't mind helping that next kid that has that genetic disease or has this or has that. My main focus right now is here. And then if I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to broaden out, I will.
You're doing it right because you have to get out there, right? Because
Right.
it is about who you know. You can go put together a golf event at Forge Pond.
Right.
And I'm not talking about a Forge Pond golf event, like it's something that's nothing. Because if you raise $5,000, that's $5,000 that you didn't have.
Right.
But if you want to go do it at a nice country club and draw in the right crowd that can stroke those larger checks to these families, you got to
That's
get
what it's
hooked.
about.
You got to get hooked up with the right people. You got to go get uncomfortable. You got to go get on shows like this, right?
Right.
So if you go throw a golf outing coming this year or next year, like I'm in to help.
Yeah.
Right.
So my goal is because I am a sports. My older son, right now he actually plays baseball. He plays basketball. He plays varsity. My younger son plays pretty much walks in his footsteps. He plays baseball. He plays basketball. He plays flag football, soccer. So I think ultimately, like having a golf outing once a year, having that charity flag football game once a year, having that charity basketball game once a year, having that charity softball game once a year, and you never know who you're going to reach to where you might get somebody of greater stature show up for whatever reason. I know we have a lot of local stars that have made it, that have been lucky enough to make it even out of this area, out of Brick, out of Toms River, out of Manchester, out of Bayville. So maybe even they
Look
see
what Todd
this.
Frazier does for Children's Special Ed
Right,
Hospital.
Todd Frazier, Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, Frankie does a lot as well.
I look at them and I say like they use their platform the right way, and that's kind of the reason why I'm here. And I remember exactly when I reached out to you, I said, Ryan, I think in the first couple sentences I said to you, can I use your platform to please, because you never know who's watching. My father always told me is you never know who's watching, and it's all about who you know.
Yeah.
If I can touch one person, you have 45,000. If I can touch one out of that 43,000,
Last month our Instagram had 5 million viewers through it.
yeah. And
30 days
there's
span.
got to be somebody out there that I can touch or base with, and I just need that foot in the door, as they say it.
I have people that I think I'm going to introduce you to that may be very beneficial to you.
And that would be fantastic, and ultimately that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, you're definitely, not that you've been on the wrong track. I haven't really talked to you in 20 years that much. I monitor, everybody on social media.
course,
and I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
that you're very involved in your daughter's life. So Carbone over at Carbone's Barbershop had done a fundraiser for you.
He did a fundraiser for me I think it was a couple years ago. We had shirts made up.
Yeah.
He was benefiting up. We have a benefit coming up at my restaurant April 7th. That will be an all-day event. You come in and some of the proceeds, or 10% of the proceeds, will go to my daughter. I have
It's
another.
very nice of your owners.
Oh, that's amazing.
Let's give them a shout out.
Yeah, they Bomeo. Yeah, 3Bs in Lakehurst. It's going to be April 7th. Then I have Diesel Subs. I don't know. He's down in Bayville.
I don't know what it is, but it just sounds good. Diesel Subs.
Dude, he's amazing. He's amazing, and I actually call him D's, and you can finish the rest. As my son would say, as soon as I say D's, you know what he says after that. Yeah, so he's gonna do something because again, this is March, and March is I got a little bit of a late start. You know, March. This should have been done. I procrastinate to the most.
Yeah. But you learn from that. You know,
Right.
you get people to help you.
Right. You know?
I call it guardrails. Put guardrails around yourself to
Yeah.
stop yourself from doing these
Right.
things.
So I have that Diesel Subs. He's gonna do something at the end of this month. I also have La Fontana. He's a pizza place in Bricktown. Hopefully he's gonna do something there. And
Well, whatever you do, I'm going to be in for something.
man, I appreciate that. I
Fireside's
appreciate
in for something.
I appreciate even just doing this for me was because again, when I first reached out, looking back at your stuff, I knew it was more in the business aspect, and that's why I was hesitant to reach out to you. And I had no idea that you were going to change your narrative in December, like you had said. I had no idea. Like I said, I haven't spoken to you in 20 plus years.
Yep.
So I had no idea. I watched it. I would sit at night and I would watch it, and it just got to the point where I was just like, "Fuck it, dude!" Like.
What did you take most from the other episodes? Were you watching them over the last couple of years, or did you just watch as of recently? When
So
we
I
were
watched
talking
I watched recently. I think maybe not the past couple of years, but I watched recently to see. And again, this is a shout out to you. 20 plus years knowing who you were back in high school to seeing who you are now. It's portion of it is jealousy, to be honest. Like seeing how successful you are, and that you did it all yourself. You know,
People helped
nobody
me along the way, but
well, of course. Well, listen, everyone needs a little bit of help. It's just like being that great coach. You think Phil Jackson did it all by himself? No, Phil Jackson had the surrounding help around. Belichick, same thing. If he didn't have Tom Brady, would he be as successful?
Yeah.
You know, everybody needs that one or two people that pick you up when you feel like you're about to fall.
The biggest thing that I want to do, especially for the Bricktown guys, is if I can do it, you could do it, right? And there's been times where people are like, why are you a video you donating this guy $1,000 or doing this? Because you're fucking showing people that this guy who got kicked out of high school from this small middle class town, and I was a lower middle class kid, I was a problematic kid in school, I hated school. If I can go do it, you can do it too, right? There's no feeling sorry. And again, we weren't the same people, but we come from the same fucking school.
We're from Bricktown, man.
We're from Bricktown.
We're from Brick.
There's a certain breed of people there, and
Some of us are built different.
Yeah.
You know, some of us are built different. And like you said, you came to you had alluded to it before, you came to a crossroad where you had a choice to make.
Yep.
You can either continue on this path and most likely end up like some of your friends did, or you can choose another
There's
path
15
where
of the kids that I grew up with in my neighborhood that are dead.
That's crazy.
Drugs or
that's crazy.
I can't even tell you how many more are probably dead that I don't know about or
That's crazy. And not that
jail.
you ever, so I recall, not that you were ever really involved in that, but all it takes is one time.
Yep.
You're at a party one time and, Rye.
I was thankfully never into drugs.
Yeah, just one. Just do just once. And I mean, I know it's sad. See, that's sometimes that's the downside of social media. You hop on and you see this person passed away, this person passed away, and it's just like, fuck, dude.
It's just like the news, right? You turn on the news every day. I got this media side, and I'm like, I got to stop finding the media stories myself because it's making me more negative. I need to have like my team find these media stories, like take breaks from it. There's certain ones I want to hop on, and there's certain narratives that I want to get out my point of view, but I can't do this all the time. I want to focus on, motivating someone like you to say, hey, let me reach out to Ryan. Ryan's not much different than I am. Like, I'm looking to get myself out there, and Ryan's out there, and I have a line.
He did his thing, and like I said, shout out to you again, because if someone would have had told me 25 years from now that Ryan Robbins would be where he is now, I would say your ass fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Straight up, And,
I'm the only one that believed.
And that's all, but that's all you need.
Yeah.
Like I said, you got to that point where you made that decision and you said, fuck everybody else. You're either going to hop on my train, I'll ride solo if I have to. And you built an empire, and going
you're
back
on that. You're going on that train now yourself.
I'm trying.
You're making that decision.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. It took me a little bit. It took me longer than it probably should have.
It's just action, man. It's continuous action.
And also I wanted to, and I think it got to the point where I want to make my kids proud.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's a huge thing.
I want to make my family proud. My mom got sick recently. She caught a disease. She's not really, is she sick? No, but she caught a disease what paralyzed her. And that really opened my eyes because she is and will always be one of my believers. And I feel like I've let her down for many years. And now it's like, I don't want to let my kids down anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, you didn't fully let your mom down. I'm sure she always wanted you to continue to excel. What parent doesn't want to see us do better, make
Right.
money, chase our dreams?
Right.
But you're deciding to do that now, and you're going to have hurdles along the way. You're going to have those times where you think that you're going to give up again. And what I'll say to you is, and dude, there's some days still to this day that I'm like, fuck, what is this all for?
Right.
Like, this
Doubt.
is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right? Well, doubt always creeps in, right? And then when you have it, then you have imposter syndrome. Was I supposed to? Like, why? How am I here, right? I moved into this house, and I'm like, this is 7,000 square feet. I'm like, who the fuck am I, right? I'm Ryan Robbins for Bricktown, right?
Right, yeah.
You kind of can revert back, and you get faster at moving through those things.
Right.
But what I'll tell you is if you promise yourself that you're never going to give up, you're going to get focused on having that foundation, helping X amount of families, and making your kid proud. If you really fucking want that, and you never come off of it, you're going to have hard times. You're going to have to push through. You're going to have
Right.
stress. You're going to have financial stress. You're going to have other things that get thrown your way. Black swan events, they call them, right? If you never, ever, ever take your eye off that fucking prize at the end goal, you will obtain it. I fucking promise you, dude.
Yeah, I had a table come in not too long ago, and they were talking to me about like kids. You know, they said, "You have any kids?" And I said, "Yeah, I do, whatever." And they said, "What's your purpose?" I said, "What?" I just met this guy within the first 5 minutes. Not even kidding you. He said, "Tell me
He
about
read something about you.
Yeah. He was like, "What's your purpose?" And I said, "Excuse me, sir. Like, I don't fucking know you. Like, I'm not gonna sit here. I'm here to give me your beer, give me your beer order, and let me go get that. You know." But I stopped when I got his order. I came back and I went back to the computer and I thought about it. I was like, wow. I was like, I've never really been asked that before.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back and I said, "Sir, no disrespect, but I don't know you from a hole in the ground." I obviously didn't say it like that, but what do you mean? And he goes, why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you wake up in the morning? What's your purpose? And that too kind of really clicked.
We don't think about these things, right?
No, because sometimes you're just gliding. You're gliding through life and you're surviving, you know, and to be honest with you, I'm tired of surviving. Like I want to be able to go like, I don't want to be above water. I want to stand on water. I want to walk through water.
Listen, things like that question is things I pose to people all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes they have your reaction like, fuck you, Ryan.
Yeah.
You know, I always say bad Ryan.
I literally looked at the guy and I said, "Sir, I just met you and I don't even know you. What are you saying to me right now?" You know, like I feel like he was sent in there.
Yeah.
Like
well,
somebody,
but also something triggered you in that, right? Because you got a little defensive.
yeah.
Right.
And usually people say when you get defensive, that's usually when you hit the nerve.
Something hit the nerve.
You know, something hit the nerve where it's just like, okay, like.
I'm good at hitting the nerve.
Yeah. I mean, you always were. You always have been, dude. I remember, oh man, you can go, you know, you always were. But that's why you are and where you got to, because we talked about it before, you can step out and be uncomfortable. That only makes you.
It's a special place. It's a scary place.
Because sometimes you're alone. Hell yeah.
You feel alone, dude.
Hell yeah.
Right? I'm this kid from Bricktown that has nothing. All of a sudden, I have these guys from the Diesel Brothers on my podcast, and Basil Iwitwick, who's created all the John Wick movies, and you know all the big brands in the state. And
I'm telling you, bro, I mean this from the bottom. If someone had said, "I'll give you $5 million," and you tell me Ryan Robbins successful, I was like, he's probably dead or in jail. Mm-hmm. And that's dead ass.
Yeah, I mean, listen, teachers
or
still
beating
reach
somebody
out
up, or beating somebody up somewhere because you always wanted to fight, or not fight, but you always were aggressive, and it's just like now you look back and we're older now, and it's like that aggressive. You turned that aggressive mentality,
channeled it
right to like positive. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Positivity, aggressive mentality, which is why you are where you are. And I never really got to that. I was always like cool with like coasting.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my life, listen, I have no complaints.
A lot of people coast, dude. I say this so many times on this podcast, so people watch every week are probably like, shut the fuck up, Brian. But my buddy Rob Bailey said, most people are dead by 35. They just don't get buried until 75.
Right.
Because you're going through this mundane life every time. And until you hit the trigger point that you're at now, where there's so much pressure building up that you're not going to restrict this thing from exploding.
Yeah.
That is where you're at. And I think that's a special place. I try to poke that in people earlier than 5 more years or 10 more years and try to get them to see light. And here's the other thing. You don't know how long you're going to be here. I try not to live that way all the time. I was like 16, 17 years old. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I was convinced I had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
Going on the fucking internet, right? Yeah. And I was just, more so, it was actually not realizing that because I ran so hard because of my ADHD, I was able to run further than my body. I was just exhausting myself. So I'd have these things going on that was just like, no, Ryan, you need to rest. And still to this day, now I know I'm getting to that point and I pull back and hydrate and make sure I'm doing the things I need to do to take my stress levels down. But dude, you can't sit in that type of mindset. You have to say, I'm going to go do it, get focused on it, and then go. I always say, I'm willing to chew through these fucking boulders for the goals that I want to have. I don't care if I gnaw the teeth out of my fucking head. I'm going to chew through those boulders. And anybody who looks at me and when I say that type of shit or feel that in my presence, they know I fucking mean it. So you're at that explosion point of, now you got to go do it. Turn that competitive Chris Boyd that I remember, that guy that wanted to go, win something and be somebody, go take that thing and run it down, dude. And don't ever look back.
Yeah, see, like I was going back to that. Like I would always get to those boulders and I would start to gnaw and I'd be like, nah, like I'm good. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's a lot of people.
Right. And I've been blessed enough in the past couple years to be around some very special people that have, it took me a little bit, probably for like a couple years now, it took me a little bit to get it out of me, but seeing a few special people in my life turn things around and their work ethic and how they operate and even being younger than me.
Yeah, well, watching their cadence, watching their movements. I dated a girl for a couple years, and she's probably one of the hardest working motherfuckers I know. Hardest working I know, and it's almost like, if kind of like what you said, if she can do it day in and day out, what the fuck is stopping me from doing it? Yourself.
Right.
It's always ourselves.
Right. So I feel like she definitely, shout out to her. Julie, she was definitely a rock of mine for the past couple years. Those people are so important to keep around you. And it's what it is. It's you get to the point where you're older now, and it's like, will I ever find somebody, this, that, and the other thing? And you tell them all the time, and you're just like, you'd rather start over 4,500 times with that one person than start new with somebody else. Like when you find that person, it's just like you said, you'll gnaw your fucking teeth out of you. You'll chew through those boulders because
I ain't losing.
No, and those people are special. You're blessed by those people, and it doesn't happen often. It maybe happens maybe once or twice in your life.
Yeah, I rub that off on people, and that's just something that fuels me. It's no more fighting. I've been saying I want peace now. Yeah. I don't want war. Now, if you want to go to war with me and you want to poke the bear, I'm willing to go in the war. I'm willing to go further than you, I promise. Right. But I want to rub off that feeling, that cadence, that killer instinct in business and in life. I want my son to have that. My daughter naturally has it. I see it in her. She's a savage. Right. I want Trevor, who's a younger guy than me, who's like my brother now. I want him to have it. I want Chris Boyd to say, dude, Ryan Robbins did it. I'm going to do it. Yeah. There's something that happens when you get yourself around those people. It's a vibration, dude. And I don't care how cliche that sounds. I don't care how many stupid guys on the internet have said that. That's a fact, dude. That's why cultures are meant to take you to fucking newer heights. Yeah. And your culture, whatever your culture is that you create for yourself, is how far you're going to go. You're the average of the 5 people you keep around you. So if it's 5 guys that you're hanging out with for fucking beers, Thursday for basketball, Saturday college football, and Sunday NFL football, you're only going to be the average of those 5 guys. And I got no hate on that dude. Right. But that's not the life I'm chasing. Right. Right. And I felt like that was the life I was okay with. You know what I'm saying? And I think the biggest thing too is I want to make people proud. Yeah. I want to make people proud. My mom proud. I want to make my daughter proud. I want to make my 2 sons proud. I want to make the next female I date proud, or the one I am, And you need to make yourself proud too, man. That too. That is, but see, like all of that stuff wrapped up will then ultimately channel back to me, because then I'll look at it and say, I did all this. Now I'm proud. Yeah. Like in the meantime, like if I make my son, you know what I mean? Like I make my son and daughter proud, that already makes me proud. Seeing their smile on their face and stuff like that. My son's birthday is Monday, St. Patrick's Day or whatever. I actually can't wait till I can wait till he turns 21. And he's like, St. Patrick's Day going out and stuff like that. But that's the stuff that you live for. Yep. I'll always be there. The moments, the memories. Oh my God, yeah. And his birthday is Monday. He's big into trading cards right now. And
I had him watch a TikTok today, and people like ripping cards and stuff like that, and he's inspired. Like he wants to do his own YouTube. He actually started his own YouTube channel. He's
Awesome.
10.
What is it?
It's actually just Claybird, and I forget, it's a couple numbers or whatever.
Go
but
follow Claybird.
Yeah, Claybird. Yeah, if you can follow him, he's inspiring to. He wants to rip his own cards. He wants to get cards, and kind of like the same thing, man. And he has that. It's weird because he has that heart, and I think he gained that heart from his sister. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Watching us, me and his mom, go through rigorous daily. Like he wants to help other people.
It's good.
And by ripping cards, he opens the cards, and then hopefully somebody else gets a good card so he can send it. He's active like that, which is weird at his age because he wants to
Listen,
help.
what's happened to him in his life is maybe giving him these.
He wants to help already.
These
it's,
gifts.
It's crazy. He wants to at 9, possibly almost 10 in St. Pat on Monday.
We could chat all night. I want to roll it to an
Yes,
end with 2 questions. The first question I have for you is a single dad or a single mom or any parent that's going through a similar situation. What's the most important thing you would tell them to remember or tell themselves or do?
I think the most important thing is no matter how deep it gets, no matter how dark it gets, don't give up. Don't give up. And I know that's cliche. Jimmy Valvano said it, don't give up, don't ever give up. But I think it's just a matter of just live in the moment and know that your son or daughter, unless they're sick, obviously, but even then, like, know that they're okay. And I feel like that's the biggest misconstrued that my daughter gets is like, oh, your daughter's sick. My daughter's not sick. My daughter's actually healthy. She's got a lot of issues, but she's actually in the other room right now laughing her ass off to trolls.
Yeah, it's okay.
And that's okay.
Tell
I'm
yourself
okay with
it's
that.
okay. It's going to be okay.
Tell yourself it's going to be okay. Keep on. Use those, and it's crazy. Use those cliche sayings. Keep on keeping on.
Listen, dude. When I was hitting a bad point in my life of frustration, and it was around like 19 years old. Like I would read positive quotes. It sounds so stupid, but everything I have as I manifested, that angry, intense guy doesn't ever leave. Ryan's here.
Right.
I've just learned to again channel that and stupid things like, positive affirmations for yourself.
Man,
I'm a machine and I will win.
Manifestation has 1,000% ever since.
Practice that shit, dude, and you'll obtain everything. I'm telling you.
In the past couple years, manifestation has been.
I put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
And then it happens.
Right.
Like my wife, still to this day, she's like, nah, you're not gonna. Okay.
Even something as stupid as just the other day, I said, like, you know what? I said to myself in the shower, I said, I'm going to go into work and I'm going to make X amount of money. Boom. Did and went above.
Yeah. I'm going to get a parking spot at the front of the parking lot.
Right. I did. It's just something as stupid as that. Manifestation, manifest it, become it, and don't ever give up.
Second question is, is there some other people that have helped you and Trish and your daughter along the way that you want to give a special shout out? Obviously, you mentioned your parents and your mom.
I mean, definitely my parents, my mom and my dad. Her mom and her dad have been very helpful. I would sit there and say basically the school of Ladison. If I had to point a finger at a few individuals, again, I don't know their names exactly, but that school has given my daughter life. That school has given my daughter, just like you send your little boy and girl to school, people has given me a sense of comfortability. That I can.
My daughter's safe during the day. I can go to work.
100%. I can go to work. I don't have to look at my phone every 35 seconds. I know that she's well taken care of. I know that. So I think the biggest thing is definitely shout out to Ladison.
Make a note so we can make sure we tag them if they have an Instagram.
Yeah, definitely Ladison, Ladison Lehman School in Lakewood. They have been above and beyond. And I have met people that I don't even know that have said my daughter has been like a joy. And how can you say that when someone doesn't,
Who doesn't love to hear that their kid's doing well or
100%.
awesome or
it's
brings
just like
them joy?
It's like hearing your kid's a little shit.
Yeah.
And they all say she's a pleasure. I would do anything for her. And I'm
proud.
Yeah. Oh man, and you wouldn't think that because she's not doing the normal stuff.
Correct.
Well, I've gotten away from that. There is everything to me that she does is normal. It's her norm.
Listen, dude, I think that your daughter's going to do amazing things. I think you're embarking on amazing things. however I can help along the way. I wish I
appreciate
could
it.
just continue to stroke checks to everybody. I don't
Yeah.
have billions of
Bro,
dollars, right?
It's not about that.
I think I can help promote your events that you may do in the future, you're going to do in the future. And I wish you nothing but the best, dude. I'm glad
appreciate
you
you,
reached
brother.
back out.
I appreciate it. And like I said, that's my biggest thing here. My biggest thing here is not to collect a check. My biggest thing here is not to get money from anybody. My biggest thing is to get my mouth out there, my face out there, my daughter out there, that we can help others.
You had a little thing you brought with you. Did you?
Yeah, I actually did.
It
This
fell
is-
actually underneath your
Did it?
chair.
So yeah, so this is actually, a flyer that was made.
Can you zoom in on that, owner?
This was a flyer
Cute.
that was made. That's my daughter Amaya, and this is a flyer for the fundraiser that we're going to do at 3B's on April 7th. So
Awesome.
this is just one of, hopefully, this is the start. And to be honest with you, I'm going to keep this.
Keep it forever.
I am, and I'm going to frame this because I know that one day, like I said, when I do my outings and charity softball events and whatnot, that this is where it started. This was the flyer that started it all.
Got to remember where it started.
Yep. That's important, man. A lot of people lose sight of that.
Yep.
Where you came from,
Yeah.
what you did, and what you went through.
Bricktown, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't
Brick
forget.
Tucky. Now
Don't
they call
forget.
it, what do they call it? Brick Tucky now, right?
My boy Jake Hill out in Montana all the time is like, Brick City, motherfucker, what are you up to tearing down? What world are you taking apart
Yeah,
today?
yeah. I mean, a lot of people, I said it the other day, like, where'd you grow up? And I said, Brick. They said, Brick Tucky? I said, no, sir. I said, I grew up in Brick.
Yeah.
You know, but now I guess they call it Brick Tucky or whatever.
Who knows?
Whatever they want, man, you know? So I appreciate you. Thank you
Dude.
very much. Hopefully,
We'll crush it. I wish the best for you and your family, your
yes,
daughter.
sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully this changes, again, you know, like I said, I watched before, and hopefully this changes the narrative of, and again, I had no idea.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up that's
Yeah.
not just business owner.
I
it's-
had no idea. When I first looked, I was like, he might not even respond. He'll respond because he knows I've known him for a while, but he might be like, sorry, bud, like this is not where I'm headed. But
2 years ago, I probably would have said that. I
Right.
said it to a lot of people. But
Right.
it's, I think why God put me on this earth is to use this mouth of mine and my ability and this platform to do good in the world. And that's going to give me everything I need for
right.
myself.
And I'm
my
1,000%
family.
grateful. People tell me all the time, I don't shut the fuck up. Well, I'm going to
Use that.
Yeah, I'm going to use it.
You're good at it. We're
gonna
going to talk
use
about
it.
some other opportunities with that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Cheers.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, man.